Well, the 10th annual Arise Detroit is today. The initiative is all about sprucing up the city and rebuilding neighborhoods.
Well, in honor of the 10th anniversary of Arise Detroit's Neighborhoods Day, and we've been working with Luther Keith ever since its conception 10 years ago, we wanted to do peace and safety walks in the community that are resident-led. And so we're starting on the east side in the Osborne area, and then in the Denby area, and then we're going to the west side in the Cody High School area. So all day long, we've got 4 peace and safety walks with the residents, and we're going to be addressing hot spots in the community by which women, seniors, and our children cannot walk safely to and from the store or the place of business because of a lot of illicit activity.
Yeah, I want to show kind of some of these posters that we have here. Unity in the community, increase the peace. What does that mean to you?
Well, these are actually done by our residents and some of our block clubs and some of our staff at Black Family Development. And this was a suggestion by our CEO, Alice Thompson. And so we have these homemade signs, but they speak to the power and the voice of the village.
We've been part of Arise Detroit Neighborhoods Day for 3 years now. This is our 3rd year to connect with this. And it fits perfectly with the core values and the mission of Rippling Hope. So we have been very glad to connect with Arise Detroit, because what's happening today is thousands of volunteers are working across the city.
The first year Neighborhoods Day, you saw the banner with all those sponsors. The first Neighborhoods Day, we had one sponsor 10 years ago. One. Wow. That was Comerica Bank. And fortunately, it's grown through that. And this year, because of your support, it took it over the top for us. So it's allowed us to do all these great things and excited the people all over the city.
What Luther has put together here, just really focusing on celebrating the neighborhoods and the people in the neighborhoods and all the great work that they're doing, really attracted us, especially the partnership with DPS schools, because we also have a partnership in the Detroit Public Schools. And so we thought it was a great way to collaborate.
Well, we have a lot of people who fly into City Airport, corporate people, medical people who do transportation. And so we want them to see the airport in a positive light, because it's an opportunity to show what Detroit is about. And so even for the neighbors in this area, we want them to see that this is an airport. We should take ownership of it. And so we have people around planting flowers, cleaning up litter, as well as talking about the opportunity that the aviation industry presents to this community.
To me, it's more about just cleanup. It's more about anything like that. It's about bringing people together, it's community. It's giving people an opportunity to just come out and have some fun.
Right. This block club is the first time Arise Detroit was ever on television. The Neighborhoods Day, 10 years ago. This was the group that the local station came out and filmed for this new thing called Neighborhoods Day that we were starting out 10 years ago. We had no idea where we go, what we're doing. It's so great to have people like this community, like Mary and all our other folks, who really are the lifeblood of what we do. And I know they're kind of like tucked away in this little corner of the city, but I always try to come by every Neighborhoods Day. When you are successful and famous and rich, they'll say, Luther, I love you. Luther, you're doing a great job. But when you just getting started, you ain't successful, and you're not famous, and you're not rich, you just got a little idea, you remember those folks who were with you at that time.
Luther, you're like the angel. And with the wings, we're attached to the wings.
Okay.
And so we just feel that we're in a small place in this little park, but with you organizing the community day in the parks all over the city, so we're part of it. We feel big. We feel real
good. That is wonderful.
Yeah, and we appreciate you and love you. You're doing a fantastic job.
If I get a chance, what time will the hot dogs be on?
Probably about 1.
Okay.
1:30
I'll let you go.
Luther, talk about the last 10 years. When you walked away from the newspaper, I still work for the newspaper. I think about people who've done that and tried to find new lives. I think you are by far the most successful example I can think of. And I don't mean that in a monetary or an economic way. I just mean in terms of impact and satisfaction.
Well, you know, that's a very good point. I was telling someone, I often tell the story when I was a columnist. You can relate to this as a columnist yourself, Steve. When you're a columnist, you can't make everybody happy no matter what you do. And I could write a column. And say we should all love each other, and I would get an email back saying, "Luther, you idiot."
Like, I don't love you.
But now when people ask me what I do, I say I run a nonprofit that tries to help children and families and improve life in Detroit. Nobody ever says like, "I'm against that. I want to fight you about that." They always say, "Really? How you doing that?"
What can I do? Right?
Every day, I'm meeting in a place of hope and common ground where we believe that we can make it better. We have problems we can overcome, that we can work together, just like Reverend McCarthy and other people. Everybody who's part of Neighborhoods Day believes that we can make a better community.
Yes.
And so as you put out positive energy, you connect with other positive energy. And so I've been very fortunate and blessed that a lot of great people all over this community have embraced a little idea that we had. And quite frankly, Steve, I didn't know where this thing was going to go or if it made sense at all. It's just an idea that I had. And through the grace of God and a lot of community support, it has grown very organically. I mean, every day is different, every year is different. And what has happened, Steve, as now we have emerged in the age of, quote unquote, the age of the comeback in Detroit, and sometimes I think it's overused, but I think one thing, overall, there's a different feeling about the city. Not that things are great and things are perfect, but it's a better feeling about this. It's like the stock market. Oh, I think this is a buy time, not a sell time.
Right.
So I think this is a buy time in Detroit, and Arise Detroit is simply an instrument for that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that change over 10 years. I mean, you back to 2007, it was a really different city.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
A lot of the energy and excitement that we've seen in some parts of town wasn't there.
Right.
Some of the deterioration that we now see hadn't really taken hold yet.
Right. It's been a rocky ride, and we've gone through our issues with political problems or corruption, however you want to call that. You know, with the foreclosure crisis, which is we're still coming out of. But I think even with all of that, there was a seed of hope that has never gone away with Detroit. And what has happened, as circumstances have changed, and as certain businessmen and investors have come into Detroit and other people have started talking about Detroit, it's a different feeling. And now we're getting companies that just want to put Detroit on their products because they think it's going to sell more. But one thing that, you know, we're in the time of the new Detroit and the old Detroit and the tensions of old and new. But you've always got to have somebody that's going to hang in there through the tough times. Hang in there when other folks are telling you, you're crazy to do that. You should move out. It doesn't make sense. And so a lot of folks have held on, and a lot of folks now are convinced to come in because those folks held on. And so this should not be a zero-sum game, us against them. And we should embrace the old, welcome the new. Most importantly, have respect and work together. That's what we need to move Detroit. Respect everybody, move forward, and build something really great for this city. And it's thrilling to be part of something like this with so many people all over this city, neighborhoods, the most affluent, the most challenged, the block clubs, the churches.
Everybody sort of comes together.
It is. It's really great.
So on this book that you gave me about last year's event, there's this wonderful quote at the bottom. Neighborhoods Day gives people a sense of ownership and pride in the neighborhood. That's from Peyton Wilkins of the Eastside Community Network. But that's such a wonderful way to capture what we're really doing here, right?
It really is. And again, Neighborhoods Day is not about one day. These people are working throughout the year, but it's on this day that we can lift it up on a grand stage and say, we want to recognize this is your day. As I often say, it's the birthday for the neighborhoods of Detroit, as I often do. I may have used this on your show before when, you know, your family loves you, Steve, but on your birthday, you get a chocolate cake. That's a good one.
It's a better day, right?
But that's what it is. So we want to, you know, these are not the people that necessarily call the press conference or get the big accolades, but they're the people that are there. So, but fortunately, we have great corporate support people. We have thousands of volunteers from corporations. We have people coming in doing work at schools. So it's a great way to really to make a difference. That's why we call it literally a day that changes Detroit, because things change on Neighborhoods Day, and we want to keep them changing in the right way.